What's going on? Evan Savage here, and today we're starting a new web video series on church history. I love talking about church history. A lot of people say, why do you talk about church history? Shouldn't we be focused on the future? But the fact of the matter is, and as the old adage goes, history repeats itself. And so I love talking about church history, and I love learning things from church history that we can either use today, or that we could say, well, that was a bad time. We want to make sure that we're not going to do this. You know, when we talk about church history, a lot of what we're going to be talking about is this idea of tradition. I know tradition tends to get a bad rap in many circles, especially in the church world. People don't want to be a traditional church or whatever you want to call it. But the fact of the matter is that our whole life experience is built upon traditions that were handed down to us, whether it's the tradition of preaching or the tradition of worshiping through music, or the tradition of being a people that work in the community within social services and feeding the hungry and housing the poor and things like that. There are a lot of traditions that we take. Communion, for instance, how we practice communion with the bread and the wine. Communion is a tradition. It's something that we do. It's something that unites us as a body of people. And so this video series, as we can continue on into the future, we're going to talk a lot about some events in church history that have informed us today. Some good events and some bad events. And we're going to begin all the way back into the earliest days of the church. We have a document that's given to us. It's called the Book of Acts, that really talks about the first few decades of the church. And we're going to look into that for a little bit for a video. We're going to do other videos about, kind of the dark period of the church, the period known as the Dark Ages, but there's a lot of bad stuff that happened in those times as well. Then we're talking about things like the Reformation, and then the second or the other Reformation that happened around the same time as the Lutheran Reformation, known as the Radical Reformation, and why, if we look to that Radical Reformation, we can actually see a lot of how we worship in the United States, how that informed us in the United States. So look forward to these videos. We're going to talk about a lot of cool stuff, so stay tuned. Like and subscribe and push the little bell thingy on here so you can get some notifications, and we'll see you next time.